Welcome everybody, and good evening. I want to thank you for attending this, my 7th State of the Town address. I especially want to thank Lions Club President John Taggart and all those from Kiwanis and Rotary for attending this event. That's worth a round of applause. That's all you're going to learn from this speech. After a difficult campaign last year, it is humbling and gratifying to be re-elected as another term as your town supervisor. It's exciting tonight to be given the opportunity to address so many of Riverhead's leading voices in the town of Riverhead, to discuss the future of our great town. My speech tonight is going to take several different twists and turns, but there's much to be said. But the underpinning of the State of the Town message, as always, is about where we've been and where we're going as a town and as a people. In each State of the Town, we outlined our shared agenda, we measure our progress, and we state our priorities, and we look ahead, remember the past, and move forward. But before I get to that, I want to talk to you about something a little bit different. I want to talk to you a little bit about joy, a little bit about hope. I'm reminded of Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 through 16. Everybody get their Bibles out? Okay. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people put a light lamp under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand. And it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. This passage from the Bible is one of my favorites. Matthew confronts and reminds me of my time here as town supervisor, governing and working with the town of the people of the town. Our residents, our business owners, our people truly are the salt of the earth. And we should be proud of the fact that they have made this town a beacon of light that cannot be hidden. This town is the epicenter of the entire East End. As stewards of this town, we must protect this place and its people so that it is not trampled underfoot. So as I was preparing for this speech, a song was stuck in my head. And I went to bed one evening, and I was awakened in the middle of the night, and I couldn't place the song. I wasn't quite sure where the song came from, but I kept singing it and singing it and singing it. The next morning I woke up, and I asked my son Timothy about the song that was taking over my sleep. Timothy listens to Christian music, and I knew that this was a Christian song. Turns out it was a song by Matthew West. It's entitled Do Something. The lyrics of the song are as follows. And what I want you to do when you're done here, look at the Matthew West YouTube video. It's a very powerful song. So the lyrics are as follows. I woke up this morning. I saw a world full of trouble now. Thought, how do we ever get so far down? How's it ever going to turn around? So I turned my eyes to heaven and I said, God, why don't you do something? Well, I just couldn't bear the thought of it. People living in poverty, children sold into slavery. The thought disgusted me. So I shook my fist at heaven and I said, God, why don't you do something? And he said, I did. I created you. If not us, then who? If not me and you. If not now, right now, it's time for us to do something. If not now, then when? Will we see an end to all this pain? It's not enough for us to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. The song says, God, I created you. What does that mean? What took over my sleep that evening? I believe it means this. We are the vessel for change. Many people have said, and I truly believe it, let God's work be done through you and I. Too often we look to others to solve our problems. Some turn to government to solve our problems. Some play the blame game. Some turn to addictive substances. Some turn to anger. and some turn within. The answer, however, is right in front of us. If we want to shape our days, if we want to make change, if we want to do something about the enormous array of the world's ills, we need only to find the joy and goodness in the simplicity of doing God's will. Matthew West sings about the power of God, that He created each and every one of us to do something positive, to be an element of positive change in our lives, in world relationships, in our community, and in our world. We cannot sit idly by and expect the world to change. We cannot do nothing. We must do something. We must be the salt and light. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. The town is made of bricks and mortar, to be sure, but our real strength is in our people. And as I stand in awe each and every day at the people of Riverhead. This town is amazingly generous. We stand up for the weak. We feed the poor. Each and every day, there's a special strength drawn from the people of Riverhead, and they sing out loud to each other, to our families, to our schools, to our community groups, to our institutions. Walk the riverfront one Friday afternoon. You'll see Lighthouse Ministries giving food to the poor. Stop in the First Congregational Church on East Main Street and help them feed those that are in need. Witness the programs run by Pastor Enrique Lebron in the United Methodist Church. Talk to Alan Smith about what he's doing in Justice Court. In United Methodist Church, they are out there halting the scourge, I said it wrong again, of addictive substances and trying to stop that in its tracks. Witness the work of Sister Margaret Smith of Spanish Apostolate. Here in Riverhead, we are generous with our time. We show our spirit. We build up, we don't tear down. This is a selfless town. One of the things that troubles me the most, though, both personally as town supervisor, is the treatment of the Latino community in both Riverhead and our nation. What is lost in the rhetoric is these people are human beings with feeling, I'm not available, and needs, just like all other human beings created by God. We cannot stand by and do nothing. Riverhead School District did something. When the school district was asked to take some 200 Latino children that may have crossed the border illegally, they did not complain. There were no protests. There was no wailing and gnashing of teeth. Only a district ready to spring into action to aid the displaced children. I'm so proud of the Riverhead School District for taking these children in, educating them with the respect and decency that all children deserve. As a town and as a people, we did not cross the street. We did not look the other way. We comforted them, we served them the way God wanted us to. I have such a profound respect for everybody involved in helping the less fortunate of this town and of this world. It is in them, more than in town government, that you will find the goodness and the greatness of the town of Riverhead. You see, everybody is capable of making a difference. Everybody is capable of being the salt and the light. Everybody is capable of helping others to promote justice. Now I want to talk to you about a special group that is about to change Riverhead for decades to come. The First Baptist Church and their amazing project, the Community Life Center. First Baptist Church has had a long-standing dream to build a community life center. And as many people have heard me say, this is a YMCA on steroids. This church and its people are willing to give of their time, talent, and their treasure in achieving their goal. First Baptist Church is willing to dedicate 12 acres of their land for free. I'm going to say that again, for free. Did you all get that? For free. This property, their property, will be dedicated to build a recreational facility that will not only take care of the youth, but our elderly and everybody in between. First Baptist is an organization putting their money where their mouths are. First Baptist is holding fast to their dream. There are not many organizations willing to dedicate $2 million worth of land to a project that has nothing to do with the specific mission of the church. But that doesn't stop First Baptist. They're dedicated to doing just that. First Baptist is creating a project that will be the touchstone for our people in the town of Riverhead. First Baptist knows, if not them, then who? If not now, then when? Salt and light. I look forward to helping First Baptist to make the Community Life Center a reality. I look forward to adopting the zoning and moving them forward in the process to get this much-needed center of vitality built for the people of Riverhead. I look forward, Shirley, for cutting the ribbon for First Baptist Church Community Life Center. Just as individuals are working hard to change town, it is also time to change how we do business in Town Hall. This year, I will champion something I'm calling the 412 Initiative. 412 consists of 2 reforms that I'd like to put forth this year. The first part of the 412 Initiative is a call to create term limits for town officials. I've long been a strong supporter of term limits for the town supervisor and the town board. I believe limiting the time officials serve in office brings with it a new perspectives and new ideas. I believe term limits will chip away at what sometimes people seem to think is a permanent government in Town Hall, State of New York, and the federal government. I believe term limits will help make Town Hall more responsive, eliminate the lethargy that can sometimes affect local government. I believe term limits will allow new voices to be heard, and it will level the electoral playing field. It is my belief that the state of New York would not be in the situation it is in if it had term limits. I believe the federal government would not be in the situation they're in if they had term limits. If term limits would be proper for the federal government, if term limits would be proper for the state of New York, and if term limits are proper for the county of Suffolk, then they're proper for the town of Riverhead. Thank you. That is why I've put forth legislation to create term limits for both the town supervisor and the town council, limiting everybody's official term to 12 years. A public hearing is scheduled in April to consider this legislation. I urge all of you to attend that meeting. I look forward to the town board adopting term limits. Government service should be about serving the people, not serving oneself. The second major initiative I proposed is putting forth legislation to create a 4-year term of office for the town supervisor. This 4-year term of office would be tied to the 12-year cap in service. No supervisor, including myself, would be able to serve more than 3 terms of office of 12 years. The necessary public referendum on this initiative would be held in 2016, a year when there are no town candidates besides Alan Smith on the ballot. So this legislation will not be clouded through the prism of a particular candidate or campaign. The decision to enact the 4-year term should not be a popularity contest centered on who holds the office or who is running for the position. I believe there are many reasons to support the 4-year term for future supervisors. Consider that while the town supervisor by town law is the town's chief fiscal officer, the position of town supervisor is the only elected position in the town of Riverhead that is a 2-year term. That means this office is responsible for the long-range policy planning, comprehensive budgeting, and longer-range administrative functions, and it's consistently under pressure and looking through the prism of re-election politics. Having served as your supervisor for the past 6 years, I can say it is not smart. It is not a smart policy to have the town's chief fiscal officer constantly on the campaign trail. Believe me, this is not about making re-elections easier. It is not about tilting future elections towards Republicans or Democrats, or I dare say a conservative. It's about doing what's right for the town of Riverhead. It's about giving the future supervisor a bit of political breathing room to set forth long-term plans. It's about steering with your eyes fixed on a point ahead of you rather than the changing direction of the road. A town's chief fiscal officer is weakened when the political reality is that every other elected official in town hall has a longer term in office and the safe seat to afford them the opportunity to make town government a constant political campaign. People are not well served when any layer of government never gets to the people's business because the campaigning never ends. Whether it is me or somebody else, for all the town supervisors that will come in the future, I believe it makes sense for the town's chief officer to be able to take a longer view, shielded from the constant re-election politics. Think about it. From an administrative standpoint, doing business as we do it now, a supervisor can only budget and govern for 1 year. After your first year, you immediately start your re-election campaign. The environment does not lend itself to good public policy decisions, nor does it create sound financial budgets. Last year, I started running for re-election in February and did not stop until November. Unfortunately, if we were honest, very little gets done during an election year, as the political opponents from both sides of the aisle attempt to selfishly block positive change and reforms. This constant campaigning clearly does not serve the public well. If it makes sense for the town board, if it makes sense for the clerk, if it makes sense for the highway superintendent and the tax receiver and the assessors to have 4-year terms, it makes sense to afford a future town supervisor the opportunity to set about long-range plans that must still pass muster with the town board and, more importantly, the electorate. I hope the residents will understand having a term of office for 4 years for a town supervisor makes sense, especially when the 4-year term limit is tied to 3 consecutive terms or 12 years. Should I decide to run again in 2017, I would also be term limited so that I could not serve more than 12 years. The 412 initiative is an important step in making the office of town supervisor more efficient, more effective, and more accountable. Let us turn our attention to downtown. As you've heard me say so many times, in 2010, downtown was a ghost town with an 80% vacancy rate. In the past 6 years, I am proud to say we've seen a rapid positive transformation downtown. Gone is the defeatism of the old days. Working together, we have all contributed to downtown's revival. The men and women of the Riverhead Police Department have set the template and have made people feel safe. The downtown revitalization is real and it continues. New businesses have opened and taken root and continue to prosper. Last year we watched the former Riverhead project reopen as Sonoma Grill. What was once Athens Grill reopened as Maisie and has garnered rave reviews. Several other restaurants and businesses have opened, and it is inspiring to see the excitement and entertainment happening downtown from the Suffolk Theater to the aquarium. It is truly wonderful to see the people walking around in the streets, sipping sodas, eating ice cream, and having a good time. Developers have stepped up as well. This year, rising up on West Main Street, thank you Jeff Murphy, will be Peconic Crossing. 48 new art space apartments. Working with the East End Arts Council, Peconic Crossing will be geared towards the artisans of Long Island. The project will bring a creativity and vitality to West Main Street that we have never seen before. Not to be outdone, developer Georgia Malone is back. With the fresh success of 30 West Main Street with its 28 commercial units under her belt, Ms. Malone purchased the former Allied Optical building and is in the process of transforming it from a dated 1960s retail office building to a 21st century business center with touches of turn-of-the-century architecture. This building will provide for 16 commercial units. Like that of 30 West Main Street, it will share common office amenities such as conference rooms, break rooms, lounges. West Main Street is truly on the move. And where would we be if we didn't discuss Shelley Gordon? I am confident that David Gallo's transformative vision of East Main Street will finally add the finishing touches to the revitalization. In addition to Georgia Ventures, there are several major developers jockeying for position on the remaining few empty buildings on East Main Street. Perhaps the most amazing project is being brought to us by Joe Petroselli, who has rebuilt the Preston House across from the aquarium. Another transformational project that will include a second hotel. There are very few downtowns across the nation that have even one hotel, and we are about to have 2 hotels downtown. Recently, I was pleasantly surprised when a former Rotarian, I won't mention his name, from Southampton, told me that Riverhead is becoming a threat to the neighboring downtowns because businesses are seeking to relocate to downtown Riverhead from other downtown areas. While much progress has occurred downtown, we are not about to start resting on our laurels. Instead, we are emboldened to see the excitement of Main Street. It is wonderful to see so many people staking their claim in the town of Riverhead. It is exhilarating to see the people take a stand and say, I'm going to do something. So I and the entire Riverhead board have to remain vigilant to make certain that not only the businesses in downtown are successful and thrive, but that all business districts in the town of Riverhead are successful, including Route 58. I don't want to be an alarmist about box stores. However, I think everybody can figure out that the era of box stores could soon be over. You see just about everything that you buy in a box store you can buy on your iPhone. Route 58 has to remain alive and profitable. And to that end, working with Councilman Jody Giglio, Councilwoman, thank you, police, for bringing her in. That's John's joke. Working with Councilwoman Jody Giglio, I am happy to say that we are extremely close to landing our first multi-screen movie theater at the former Walmart building on the east side of Route 58. This has been a long and arduous process. I think we are within a year of having the groundbreaking that would bring Riverhead its first movie theater in a long time. Long. I cannot wait to see the movie marquee lit up in Riverhead again. We will need this type of creativity where we work with developers, landowners on solutions that will keep Route 58 alive and prosperous. In the future, we will carefully study our zoning code on Route 58, thank you, Jeff, to ensure that this vital thoroughfare remains a thriving business district. Beyond Route 58 and Main Street, we need to focus our attention on some of the quieter hamlets in the town. Back in 2011, Riverhead undertook what will be a series of updates to the town's master plan when they completed the town's Wading River corridor study. It is now time to move east and undertake the main road corridor study from Route 105 to the Riverhead South Old Town border. My staff and I, along with newly elected Councilman Timothy Hubbard, have been working on a proposal to present to the town board that would undertake a comprehensive study of the main road corridor similar to that which was undertaken in Wading River. It is not our intention to change the APZ zoning, and it's not our intention to change the residential zoning. Instead, we seek to revisit the commercial zoning in the hamlets of Aquabog and Jamesport in an effort to see if the original intent of our 2003 master plan is being met, and to see if we need to more comprehensively codify and update that master plan. In addition, we have met with the owners of the former Froelich property in Jamesport to discuss their future development plans. One of the things that has come from these discussions is the need for an assisted living facility in the town of Riverhead. The former Froelich property has 10 acres of business zoning, and the owners of the property, in concert with the civic organizations and several residents have reached out to myself and Councilman Hubbard to discuss the possibility of creating a zoning district to allow for the construction of an assisted living facility in a walkable community. While many residents have expressed concern about allowing these 10 acres to be built with a new commercial district, an assisted living facility may very well fit nicely into the hamlet of Jamesport. It may be that a less intensive use would be more appropriate to Jamesport, and it could provide jobs and commerce to the hamlets of Manitouk, Jamesport, and Aquabog. The argument for the assisted living concept is buttressed by the fact that the property's new owners are working with our legislator Al Krupski to sell the development rights on the remaining farmland known as the Froelich property, to ensure the remaining tract would forever stay farmed. As in Wading River, the town board will be working with the residents, the civic associations, and businesses in the corridor to come up with an update of the town's master plan for Main Road. Neighbors working alongside neighbors for the positive benefit of the town. Which takes us to EPCAL. As I've said so many times, the single most important item that the town of Riverhead has been working on for the past 5 years has been the subdivision and redevelopment of the former Grumman facility. It was my hope that this subdivision would have been completed at the close of 2015. Fortunately, or unfortunately, that has not happened. In March of 2015, my staff and I began conversations with a new company known as Illuminati Aerospace. When we were first approached by Ray Maynard in Skydive, Long Island about the possibility of bringing aerospace back to Calverton, I, like you, were skeptical. After 6 months of intensive behind-the-scenes conversations, Riverhead was able to successfully attract Illuminati Aerospace to EPCAL. I am proud to say this year that the aerospace industry has begun anew in Riverhead. During this 6 month of conversations, it became clear to me as well as other board members that the subdivision as proposed may not completely work for Illuminati Aerospace. That certain aspects of our pre-Illuminati plan might in fact tie the hands of this exciting new venture. In an odd way, Riverhead was fortunate that the subdivision was not complete, so that we could make adjustments to the impact statement which will allow Illuminati to operate and thrive at EPCAL for years to come. It is exciting to see the aerospace industry back, not only for Riverhead, but Long Island as a whole. While I cannot discuss the details of Illuminati Aerospace, suffice it to say that even if a quarter of their plans come true, the aerospace industry will be firmly rooted in Riverhead at EPCAL. So it is with great pleasure that I announce tonight that the final environmental impact statement is done, and it will be in the hands of the town board, I hope this week. Today we are in a position to finish the subdivision with an amazing anchor tenant, the kind that we have been dreaming about for the past 20 years. The town's vision of a high-tech industrial manufacturing park utilizing the runways as they were intended to be used is now a reality. I want to thank the town board for their support of the project, and I specifically want to thank Daniel Preston for his vision and his willingness to take a chance on Riverhead. We will not disappoint. Finally, let's talk about Riverhead's financial picture. As I've stated so many times, there are only 3 ways to fix our finances. The first is to save as much as we can. And to that end, Riverhead has cut its workforce by some 10% during my administration. The second is to grow as much as we can. In that regard, we have seen the tax base, especially along Route 58, experience exponential growth, making us one of the fastest growing towns from a commercial standpoint on all of Long Island. Finally, the third way government can improve its finances is to raise taxes. However, this administration remains steadfast against tax increases. I am proud and pleased to report that the town's spending over the past now 7 budgets that I've presided over has had an average annual spending increase of 1%. That's half the rate of inflation. For Riverhead the past 6 years, it's been a race to grow our economy fast enough to overtake the drawdown in general town fund reserves that are being used to pay the landfill's debt. Because these two lines had not yet met last year, the town had no choice but to pierce the tax cap by 2%. While I'm a huge supporter of the concept of a New York State tax cap, unfortunately the tax cap does not completely work for a municipality without the attendant mandate relief from New York State. We have maintained a prudent course. We have pruned staff, we have cut costs, we have grown our economy. We have done everything within our power to stay within this tax cap. Yet Albany and Suffolk County continue to push unfunded mandates down the line to the town level of government. The old adage is, it runs downhill. As disconcerting as it was to have to pierce the tax cap by 2% last year, I am pleased to announce that the town's general fund budget is finally balanced, which means for 2016, the first time in an awful long time, the revenues coming in equal the expenditures going out. I'm also optimistic that a 2017 balanced budget is within our reach. Riverhead has not incurred any additional debt over these past 6 years. We have pared down the town government. We have paid as we went. So in 2017, you will see approximately $500,000 of debt service coming off the backs of the Riverhead taxpayers. This decrease in debt service will help us stay within the forecast 0% tax cap for 2017. These past few years have been very difficult for all municipalities throughout New York State. Riverhead is not alone in reducing its reserve funds to stay within the tax cap. Municipalities all across New York State are spending down the reserves in the same way. Here in Riverhead, our huge landfill debt has given us very little budget room, so we've had the unfortunate result of being placed almost on the New York State Comptroller's economic stress list. This would not be the case if the state of New York provided the mandate relief that municipalities require, or their proportionate share of state aid, an issue I intend to speak loudly out in Albany on behalf of the town of Riverhead and other municipalities across the state. We have worked hard to promote businesses along the Route 58 corridor. If Riverhead was able to capture even a portion of our sales tax, leaving our borders, there probably wouldn't be any need for a general fund tax. Ever watchful of our finances, this year with the help of Bill Rothar, we hired a new financial advisor, Capital Market Advisors. This firm is going to complete a 5-year detailed budget plan. The firm will also undertake a comprehensive review of all departments to ensure that the departments are working to their maximum efficiency. The report will be compiled into a comprehensive document that will be sent to the credit agency Moody's. We are hoping that after presenting this 5-year comprehensive financial plan, we will be able to improve upon our already good credit rating, which will allow us to refinance our debt at a lower rate. With the town's general fund balanced, the final piece of the puzzle is balancing the Community Preservation Fund. Last year we drafted comprehensive language to change New York State's local finance law that would enable the town of Riverhead to refinance the CPF debt over a 20-year proposed extension to the Community Preservation Program. Assemblyman Fred Thiel, along with Senator Kenneth LaValle, passed legislation that was signed into law to extend the CPF program an additional 20 years. The Riverhead Amendment to the local finance law is a follow-on to that extension of the CPF program. The local finance amendment passed at the Senate last year but was not introduced in the Assembly in time for passage in 2015. We are confident that this legislation will pass both chambers this year and be signed into law. Once this legislation is in place, we will be able to refinance the town's CPF debt and extend the term in a way that will reduce our principal and interest payments from $5.7 million a year to $2.5 million a year, bringing the debt service in line with the $2.5 million annual revenue. When this is done, Riverhead's budget will be truly balanced. Here in Riverhead, I am proud to say we are blessed with intelligent and innovative department heads. Over the years, we have merged the building and planning department, which reduced staff and saved money. We've merged the sanitation department into the engineering department, which saved money again. And this year, you will see a merger of the town's recreation department and senior department under the guidance of Ray Coyne and Judy Dahl. The merger of these departments will not only enable us to reduce staff and save money, but it will allow us to expand recreation and senior programs. More exciting still is that we will be able to run intergenerational programs that will allow all generations of Riverhead to work, play, and recreate together, hopefully at the Community Life Center. I want to thank Judy Dahl and Ray Coyne, who planted the seeds of hope for this new intergenerational department of their own initiative, creating a new department springing to life for the benefit of the residents. That initiative is what I mean when I say we are the vessel of change. That is up to us to bring about change that God wants to see. All around us, good things are happening in Riverhead. In Town Hall, to be sure, but more importantly in our homes and our churches, within our businesses and our civic organizations, in our schools, at our kitchen tables, all across this great town, there is a feeling that we've turned the corner and that we are on the move forward. 2016 will be a year where we continue to build upon our success. In the new year, the salt and light shall meet and know together that they can be counted on to do something. I want to take a moment to thank my partners on the Riverhead Town Board. Councilman Jim Wood, why don't you stand up? Councilman Jim Wood. Councilwoman Jody Giglio. Councilman Timothy Hubbard. Where are you, Tim? Four council members standing at my side. You can sit down now. I know with the four council members standing at my side, as a team, we will accomplish amazing things in 2016. I want to thank my staff, Heidi, Jill, Carol, Larry, and Joe for all, well, Joe's not my staff, but Joey Majorano helped edit the speech, for always standing by me. I know that I may not always be the easiest person to get along with, but you have made my job so much easier, and I'm truly blessed by having people of your caliber standing with me. Finally, I want to thank the members of my family, Zachary, Timothy, and Gregory, and especially my lovely wife, Kathleen. For allowing me to serve as town supervisor. I could not do the job without the full blessing and support of my family, and it is through their love and support and faith that we continue to make this town the greatest town in Suffolk County. Things will not always be easy, but I am reminded of a quote from an American journalist and humorist named Ken Hubbard. No relation, I don't think, Tim. And he says, quote, "There is no failure except in no longer trying. There is no defeat except from within. No really insurmountable barrier save our own inherent weakness and purpose." All the glory and honor go to God. I thank the Father for placing me back in this position. And I ask that you, the residents and the business owners of Riverhead, pray for me that I may honor God by and in my service to the town. Thank you for coming.